Alright guys, so today Dokkan posted a teaser in regards to who the next Dokkkanfest is going to be. And it has me wondering, Dokkan, where were these teasers leading up to Golden Week? Why do we have to deal with radio silence rather than just like the year prior? We had teasers leading all the way up to the release of the Dokkkanfest. We've had teasers for Saiyan Day. Why is it this year we had radio silence, but we get a teaser for the next Dokkkanfest? I mean, it's better late than never, I suppose. But the teaser we've got is literally a plank of wood, maybe a surfboard, lodged into the ground with a shadow on what looks to be sand, maybe a beach. And usually when Dokkan drops teasers, usually when they drop clues, a lot of the time it's very on the nose, and the most obvious choice and the on-the-nose choice is usually the character that is usually the upcoming unit. Just like last year's Saiyan Day, they had literally the ball, and everyone said, that's Bigger Bang Attack! And who did we get for Saiyan Day? Super Saiyan Vegeta. So the most obvious choice is usually the choice that Dokkan go toward. So if you think it's someone really obvious, it's probably going to be them. And my three top choices, and this is why I love the Dokkan community, because each option I've thought of is already in the comments, and then some, so we're going to go through those. First choice, GT Goku. GT Goku gets the power pole back. We haven't really had too much representation for base, for Super Saiyan. Only recently did we have some rep for SSJ3 for the 10th anniversary for the Carnival SSJ4 Goku. But base and Super Saiyan, not really units from GT that we've really had too much representation of. So I really don't mind that, especially because we can give a side EZA, even though Dokkan seems to be really allergic to giving out side EZAs recently, to the Super Saiyan 3 Great 8 Goku, which has been out in the game literally since the 2nd anniversary. So long overdue in EZA. The obvious choice to go for is a DB Saga Kid Goku, which I don't think is anywhere near the next Dokkkanfest, regardless of what version it is, considering we did get a Kid Goku for Saiyan Day, and they typically have the same name. So a lot of people, just like myself, immediately went to a Daima Goku. Now, it's not going to be Super Saiyan Daima Goku because we got one of those at the back end of last year, so way too soon. So a lot of people, including myself, and I'm hoping someone posted the image in the comments, is a Super Saiyan 3 Goku that starts fighting Goma when you have that shot of the power pole in the ground where it's wedged into the floor when they start fighting. The other one being Mercenary Tao. Flies on a pole, maybe different. It's a different material, don't get me wrong, but it is quite symbolic. Someone suggested here Tournament of Power, which I'm not going to lie, I don't personally think it's going to be a TOP unit, but honestly, not a bad shout. You know, again, wrong material. I don't know if Dokkan cares, but you know, we have the pole in the middle of the stage with the shadow here. I can't lie, really resemblant of this. And who is this guy? Vegito, I can't lie, that is a shout. As I said, the resemblance is uncanny, and I didn't think of that. And again, this is why I love the Dokkan community, really thinking outside the box. So I think this is a really good honorable mention. I think this is a big shout. I don't know who they could do. Obviously, wouldn't see an SSBE, definitely wouldn't see UI. I don't know, maybe we could see a Jiren. Haven't had a Jiren in a little bit. You know, the last Jiren we got wasn't that old, but haven't seen him in a little bit. Maybe we could see a Dokkkanfest, one of the more side characters, the kind of less important characters. As I said, GT Goku, I actually just really wouldn't mind a GT Goku, as I said, just because, of course, Super Saiyan 4 gets the most love, the most rep. Naturally, it's a hype form, hype character, biggest moments of GT. Show base and Super Saiyan a little bit more love. I honestly wouldn't mind this as well. I really wouldn't. More GT suggestions. I've seen a couple suggestions for Do and Ku, which is really not a bad shout, especially when you see this shot here of when he's in the pot and he has essentially what looks like a ruler in his hand. This is also a great shout. Also helps us circle back to Daima, and we can hop back on that Daima hype trend. So honestly, I really wouldn't mind that. Whether it's one or the other, honestly, I'm not fussed. If they wanted to do a reversible exchange, again, wouldn't mind that. We could have them transform into Super Saiyan 3. You know, depends what Dokkan wants to do. There are options when it comes to Do and Ku. Then we have Mercenary Tao. I said it might be the wrong material. You know, this is like stone and the other one looks like wood. But I mean, again, it is quite resemblant. It is a pole, you know, etc. We could see Mercenary Tao. Not a bad shout. Go back into DB Saga, considering we had Kid Goku for Saiyan Day. Someone, Ultra Tech here, right here, says, now this is a gamble, but it could be referencing Legic because Goku and the others were on a sand planet and Goku was fighting him. Let me know if this is a stretch. I think this is a stretch because Legic. But this is again why I love the Dokkan community, because I couldn't even remember that they fought on a sand planet. I mean, to be fair, GT isn't great. You know, Baby, great. Super Saiyan 4's great. Everything else, eh. So you can kind of forgive me for what I don't remember, but a sand planet, Legic fights with a pole. Could we really see a Dokkkanfest Legic in Dokkan? I mean, we're at a point where anyone can get a Dokkkanfest. Even Cyborg Tao. You know, this time we have the correct material. He's literally flying on a tree. This could easily work. Again, I do think there are a lot of options. People are shouting Roshi. Now, a lot long ago, we did actually get a Dokkkanfest Roshi. I think it was literally last year. I always say this every year, but Dokkan just starts merging into one. I just forget sometimes when units come out, apart from like big releases. But I'm pretty sure Roshi came out last year. I think the only way we see a Roshi, you know, because he lives basically on a mini island with a mini beach. And he also has a stick himself. Now, considering we got a Dokkkanfest Roshi last year, I think it would have to be a full power Roshi or a transforming full power Roshi. So I think that is also not a bad shout for the next Dokkkanfest. Do we have any more in here that I just haven't seen? We've seen more shouts for Tao. Dokkkanfest Ninja Murasaki. I mean, you never know. You never know. Again, these are shouts. These are choices that I don't think of. I think the main one being circling back to Daima. There are a couple choices, of course, the main one being SSJ3 DAIMA GOKU. Again, we've got another TOP shout, which again, I didn't even think about the resemblance between the teaser and the TOP stage. Again, I think it's a really good comparison. Whether they're going down that route, who knows? Because again, a lot of time these clues are very on the nose, but I never noticed the resemblance on the screenshot until I started seeing people post the TOP stage in the comments. Little SSJ4 Gogeta shout. This is the exact screenshot I was talking about. It's not the full one, but obviously you have the full kind of stage they're on. SSJ3 Goku's about to fight Goma. The power pole's wedged in the floor. I think personally we're going back to Daima. You know, Dokkan has barely even scratched the surface of Daima in Dokkan just yet. You know, we've had Glorio, Super Saiyan Goku, SSJ3 Mini Vegeta, and that's it. That is literally it. We've barely scratched the surface. No Ku, no Do, not a single Tamagami, no Goma, no SSJ4 Mini, SSJ4 Adult, SSJ3 Adult, nothing. So I honestly do think we're going to circle back to Daima, and SSJ3 Goku is probably the most likely choice. Someone said Tamagami 3, which is honestly not a bad shout either. You know, the place they fight, the village they fight in. Similar-ish to a sand, you know, sandy kind of place. Also, Goku is fighting with a power pole. We could see a base Daima Goku. That's also not a bad shout. Yeah, some pretty hype moments. Could transform during an animation or an active. Then let's not forget, Tamagami 3 does fight with a hammer. So that could also be a shout as well. You know, you never know. Tamagami 2 also does fight with something that does kind of resemble, not really a stick, but a pole as well. That's also another good shout. See, this, I didn't even think of this either. I don't think it's going to be this. I do think if it was going to be a Trunks, they would probably show a sword. But again, these are Dokkan. This is the Dokkan community thinking outside the box. It's not a bad shout. You know, the environment looks similar to what Dokkan is showing off. The stick in the floor, the pole in the floor, or the wooden plank in the floor. I wouldn't have thought of this either. I don't personally think it's going to be this. Because again, Dokkan teasers are always very much on the nose. So I don't think it'll be a Trunks, but again, just thinking outside the box, the Dokkan community just puts in work. Just puts in work. And now we're seeing a lot of suggestions for like Tao, etc. So I'm not gonna lie, there are plenty of options that the next Dokkkanfest could be. So I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments. Who do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be a Daima Goku? Do you think it's going to be a GT Goku Mercenary Tao? Do you think it's going to be a Roshi? Do you think it's going to be a TOP unit? Do you think it's going to be Trunks like that one guy suggested? As I said, not a bad shout. I don't think it's personally going to be him, but again, the semblance is a little bit uncanny. The only thing we're missing is a sword. But I think if it was going to be a Trunks, the teaser would have shown off a sword of some sort. But I personally think, most likely, SSJ3 DAIMA GOKU. I think a lot of people think that. again with the power pole wedged into the floor. I think GT Goku's another shout because of the power pole again. I think next one being Tao. I would say Roshi, but we only got a Roshi literally last year. So if it was going to be a Roshi, it would have to be a full power or transforming full power Roshi of some sort. But I think those are the main three. Daima, Goku, GT Goku, and Tao. But for those of you who said TOP, I said I think the resemblance is really uncanny. So as an honorable mention, maybe as a fourth option, we could see a TOP unit. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great day, and peace.